Tonight we have a Middle East themed edition called Yala edition, which came to us last year because of one of our colleagues would love to have a Middle East themed edition, Ahmed. And so we organized this today or tonight. And we have 4 great speakers today, 2 lightning talks and 2 main topics. And before we start this edition, for who is the first time here at the Product Crunch? Please raise your hands. Okay. All right. Then I say something about this platform or Product Crunch itself. So we are a platform for everyone who loves products and like product people, designers, UI UX designers, but also developers. And we want to share actually our knowledge amongst us, among this platform. And that's why we invite everyone who has a great product, who wants to show something about their products or what great features they've implemented, what failures they maybe had during the development process, and everything else. So this is really a great platform, which lives from everyone who's here today, but also you can tell your friends at home or in the live stream. And today we start with Salma. Where are you? There you are. You will come up here just right now, and you will start or share with your lightning talk about how complicated it is to navigate through the complexity of identity. You don't have the great fingers, you don't have a presentation, but you will just share your feelings and everything now right on the stage. Okay. There you go.
Hi, so my name is Sama, and in the simplest terms, I'm from Iran, but I'll get more into detail about my background later on. I wanted to talk about the perspective of a Middle Eastern Muslim woman in the workplace here in Germany and how I navigate through the different layers of my identity here. Basically, I think what we all understand is that we all have different layers of identity and different factors that come into play and different factors that we prioritize in different interactions we have with people in the workplace, in the professional setting, as well as in our personal lives. It can be gender, race, nationality, or it can be other things such as our position, our strengths, our job, and so on. Some of these are visible, some invisible, some to some extent visible, but more complex than what you see on the surface. And the way that we define ourselves, the way that we present ourselves and we want people to perceive us can be quite different to how others perceive us. They also identify us as well as we identify other people. Before coming to Germany, which was back in 2010, so 7.5 years ago, I thought that I had my identity figured out. I didn't really think about it much. It was straightforward for me. But when I came to Germany, there were lots of questions that I came across that I hadn't thought of before. Questions about who I am and what it means to be who I am. Human beings, we categorize everything. That's how our brain works. We make sense of the world by categorizing things and also categorizing people. That's where stereotypes come from. Now, in general, most people know that stereotypes don't represent the majority of the people, not majority, but an individual person. But they have to see enough examples of people defying those stereotypes to be able to make sense of it and move away from the stereotype, to be able to communicate with the person on an individual level and see beyond the stereotype. And that is where the complexities come to play. Early on, I found out that I don't fall into a lot of these boxes that the stereotypes try to put me in. I am a Muslim woman, but I don't fall into the narrative of the oppressed female, basically. I am a Muslim woman. I don't wear a headscarf. I'm a Muslim woman. I'm married to a Christian German man. I'm a Middle Easterner. I don't speak Arabic. I am an Iranian. I'm not Persian. I am a Turk. I'm not from Turkey. I'm a Middle Easterner, but I'm not a refugee. I'm a Middle Easterner, but the only country I've ever called home was Australia. And my work is mainly focused on the UK. I work for the UK market mainly, but I'm not British. So it's always been hard to give a simple answer when interacting with people on a personal level as well as on a business level. I work mainly in sales, and most of my job is dealing with customers, with clients, where you have to be polite. The topic has to be about the product, about the customer. I shouldn't be part of the discussion. And that is hard when you have such a complex history where you can't just say, I'm from here and that's the end of the story, where there's a lot more to it. I'll give you a couple of examples of the type of situations that I come across. Often in Germany, people ask me why my English is good. Not how come your English is good. It's why. As if me being an Iranian somehow prevents me from speaking English. I don't understand that. I have had job applications refused where they have actually written, we want a native English speaker. You say you're an Iranian. Those are not mutually exclusive things. My nationality is Iranian. That's a passport. You can't define me by a name and a nationality. And then it comes to speaking about a topic related to Islam, about Muslim. And there's two types of people that you come across there. People who expect me to be an expert on everything about Islam, everything related to the Middle East, and I'm not. I'm just a regular person. But they want you to know everything about every situation that comes up. And then there are other people that reject my perspective on these things by saying, but you're not a typical Muslim, because I don't look like the typical Muslim in their head. But I am Muslim, and a lot of us don't fit into that stereotype that they have in their heads. And unless we all come out and we show them all the different variations of Middle Easterners that are out here, that's not going to change. Part of it is us trying to simplify things, trying to make it easy on them, because we know that our history is complex. We don't want to be difficult. We want to give simple answers so that we're not the difficult people. I've even had people giving me a compliment by saying, I don't look Middle Eastern. I don't know what that means. Or I've had employers ask me if I want to have a fake alias with an Anglophone name when I was communicating with customers. The answer is hell no. And the list goes on and on. I'm not going to go into too much detail there. Now, when you're meeting somebody on a personal level, this can be, your complex background can be a great conversation starter. If you're sitting down with friends, that can be a positive thing. But in a business setting, the topic has to be about your strengths as the business person. It has to be about the company. It has to be about the topic at hand. So I try to still be authentic to myself while giving an answer that isn't going to have a lot of follow-up answers. When I'm talking to somebody on the phone and they ask me where I'm from, all I'll tell them is that I've been around a lot. Now I live in Germany. Or when somebody can hear an Aussie accent there. I grew up in Australia. And they ask me where that's coming from. I just tell them I grew up there as a kid. And that's the end of it. I finish it there and move on with the topic. They ask me about my name, I'll just say I'm an Iranian, but I've been around the world a lot. But when it comes to colleagues and employers, I make a point not to hide, not to censor myself. And this came through learning. In the beginning, for a while, they would ask me about my religion here, and I didn't want to get into a discussion with them, so I would just say, I'm not religious. And I didn't want to start discussing the topic. But nowadays, I don't do that. I tell them that I'm Muslim because it's important that they know that we come in different shapes and sizes. That they don't get to define our faith for us. Faith is a very personal thing, and people have different takes on it. And by doing that, I think that we are helping to create the dialogue, to get our voices heard so that we are not lumped up together and seen as this one-dimensional group of people. So overall, what I would say is we shouldn't oversimplify ourselves. Sometimes it's okay when they ask you where you're from to just say it's complicated. And if they're really interested, they'll come and ask you about it. That's pretty much it. Do you have any questions?
Anyone has questions for Selma? If you're too afraid, you can ask in the break.
I won't only answer it's complicated. Or we can talk later on. That's Carl.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk later on.
But Carl has a question.
Oh, Carl. Oh, okay, sorry. I haven't seen you.
Thanks a lot for a very interesting talk, Selma. Now, what would you recommend to the German government it should do to handle a situation like yours in a better way? Because Germany, as you see, is growing, the population of people who are not originally from Germany is growing all the time. And I have a German nationality, but I spent most of my life abroad. So in Germany, one might say that I'm a German with migration background because of that. But I don't face issues like you do. But we need to look to the future. So what would you, do you have any recommendations?
I don't know what I can give as a recommendation on a bigger picture as a political thing, but when it comes to the workplace, I could say that if companies took a bigger initiative to look beyond somebody's nationality and name and actually look at their strengths and the merits, that I think they could benefit a lot from that. Sometimes I've been in many situations where I've been looking for a job, I've changed jobs quite a bit here, and there have been places where I've been frustrated, where I'm even overqualified for the position I'm doing and I'm not being even looked at because the first thing they see up there is my picture, my name, and my nationality. And oftentimes they wouldn't go further than that. So I think that is something that can start from a smaller scale, but as for the government, I'm not really an expert on that. I wouldn't be able to give an answer for it.
First, thank you so much for your super personal talk and their intimate insights. I was wondering, how many times have you actually, or did you ever quit a job because of some of the stuff you talked about?
No, but there has been some very uncomfortable situations dealing with customers on the phone where they don't know who I am. And I oftentimes, when speaking with English-speaking people, I'll introduce myself as Sam, because most of my friends call me Sam. But, and I don't want to explain my name as the first thing that comes up on a call. And they're fine with that because it's also a nickname for Samantha. They think I'm a native English speaker with the name Samantha. And then I will get people actually telling me, oh, I'm so glad I'm speaking to a native English person, all of these foreigners, and they'll start complaining to me about getting foreigners on the phone. And I'll the customer's always right. You have to let them talk, you have to still be polite. And at the end of it, 5 minutes later, I send them an email signed with my name, and I hope that that will make them think next time.
All right. Last question? No? Then thank you so much for your talk.